take this time to thank you, not only for your support here this evening, but for being a part of our dream. For the last 30 years, SHUMKA has always had a belief that Ukrainian dance should and must be part of shaping the dance consciousness of this country. To be able to take that product of that belief to the land of our forefathers, to the land that gave Ukrainian dance its birth, we consider it exciting and a privilege.
I don't know, it's really happening, and I think it's hitting us, and when we sit there on the plane going, we're going to the Soviet Union, I think it's going to be kind of a phenomenal thing.
Well, I only had about an hour or two of sleep. The excitement's growing. Just anxious to get there, that's about all.
Well, all the toes are buried inside? John, John. Go! 1, 2, 3. We're missing a hole. Somebody want to empty me here?
Hours to get to Kiev, 45 hours to get to Kiev. If Aeroflot plane happens to delay one more time, 46 hours to get to Kiev.
We're so tired, we just don't know what to do with ourselves anymore. Kernick and Zinchik are fooling around as if their pants are on fire. Everyone's laughing and all sleeping. The funny thing about it is we have to perform tomorrow in 12 hours? I don't know, 18 hours. I don't know. But we'll have fun. I hope. Good night.
In the summer of 1990, a reunion took place between Canada's Ukrainian SHUMKA dancers and the country that sent their ancestors out into the world 100 years ago. Under artistic director John Picklick, these Whirlwind dancers earned artistic and critical acclaim, an intense, emotional experience for dancers and audiences alike. Such a tour had never happened before and may never happen again. It was a summer of historic change for the Soviet Union and for the 64 talented Canadians.
It's a gorgeous theater. I didn't think it was this nice, but it should go well. Yeah, I guess I'm just nervous. I just want it to go really well, and it's the first show of the tour, so it's the one that I guess, I don't know if it sets the tone of the tour, but it certainly means a lot, so I just hope for the best, you know.
I think people are really tired, so the problems are bigger than what they really are. The stage is one big problem, getting oriented to dancing uphill a lot. It's hard on the legs. Use a lot more pull-up than what people are used to.
I couldn't find my dressing room. There's corridors and staircases everywhere, and it's like, so I'll go back and try again.
I'm a little worried about the 2,000 tempo changes that we have to somehow magically arrive at today.
And coming to Ukraine with only 1/2 day to rehearse the 30 musicians of the Kyiv State Chamber Orchestra that were actually provided for this tour was certainly a challenge for me, as well as for the dancers, who of course heard the orchestra for the first time only a few hours before their first performance.
There are the inside butterflies. With every show, it never ends. But I see a lot of confidence. I see a lot of, let's get it done. You know, we have been rehearsing for 2 years. I want to see it done. And the dancers are excited about seeing that last page flipped over, and yeah, we're ready.
This is your 10-minute call. I will ask for everyone to make their way to stage level, please. Десять хвилин на сцену, прошу. Дякую.
Keyword attack, watch your lines, watch the changes that we talked about. The biggest thing is the first 4 mils in previt. When you come out and you go back, the audience right then and there makes their judgment call whether this company is alive and well or they're scared to death. Take it to them. Attack. Here we go. SHUMKA.
Burst of energy or what?
Це було фантастично. Фантастично. Інших слів я просто собі не можу, ви знаєте, знайти. Чудово.
We were so tired and so nervous, and we just done our very, very best that we could possibly do, but we still weren't certain if the audience liked us. And it sort of started off as a whisper through the crowd that they did like us, and we heard the audience's response, and I will never forget that exhilarating feeling that not only did we do a good show, but the audience really liked us.
Just the feeling of finally being in the Ukraine, these people homeland, and it meant so much to them. And I'm not Ukrainian, but for some reason, just the feeling of all the dancers, the audience just got to me too, and everybody got misty at that show, and it went to my heart as well.
They will give you some kind of information about this labra. So, if you be so kind as to stay here for a while, okay?
Then the next is the dedication of Virgin Mary and her baby Jesus Christ, this Simeon in the Cathedral of Jerusalem.
One of the wonderful benefits of a tour like this is the opportunity to step outside the theater walls and experience the sights and the people. This lavra here is one of the earliest and the holiest monasteries in Eastern Europe. The history here is incredible, and I'll remember it for a long time.
This flag is more than 1,000 years old. It is a true original flag of Ukrainian people. It was hand there 7 days ago only, and so now Ukrainian people have received the possibility of possessing their own flag.
The changes here in Ukraine have not only allowed us to tour, but also when we received our agreement from the Ukrainian Ministry of Culture, It was one of the first documents to be officially done in the Ukrainian language.
We should get somebody on it right away, because it might take a whole day to find somebody who knows what it's doing. Хтось може настроїти трошечки. Крапочку, чуть-чуть.
Я казав у філармонії,
Так.
повинен бути.
Вони можуть прийти.
Так.
SHUMKA is made up of all volunteers, and sometimes I wonder why, 50 people who come from so many different aspects and walks of life and different family lives and just different, 9 to 5 sort of lifestyles would come together like 3, 4, even 5 nights a week to basically put their body through a lot of pain. But then when you perform, it all comes out, and there's a purpose for it, and there's a reason.
Okay, is this, that looks better already. Just be aware, because there's nothing worse than this, whoa,
The difficulty is there are no microphones. We have a curtain here which must be used to accomplish blackouts, but we can't get sound through the curtain. So what they're trying to do is bring in the one and only group in town that's allowed to have mics, so that they can set up a couple of general mics so at least the dancers will be able to hear the music. Otherwise, I don't know what they're going to dance to.
Нет? Дима? Ничего. Дима. А тут я куда?
What we need to do is use those same feelings, those same traditions, those same folkloric facts, so to speak. And our job is to take them and put them into a Canadian context. Now, that's something that half of the time we ourselves are not sure of. It's a young country. We're not sure what is our identity, especially as Canadians, not so much even Ukrainian Canadians. And it's a learning process. But our job here is simply to take that to the limit, experiment with it, go to the fullest, tell these people that we are unique in our own direction, that we have a new way of saying those same things that have been said time and time again. I think we're going to do it. We did it in Kyiv. Now we have to improve on the show. We're learning as we go. And Ivano-Frankivsk will be hot if everything goes well. That's if we get the stage lights set up. There's a few details here that we're running against. Simply ran out of circuits. Can't light the full show. I've always believed that there's a certain universality when it comes to the human spirit. One doesn't need to be Ukrainian. It's not imperative that one has certain cultural roots in order to enjoy our show. We focus very strongly on the fact that there are key emotions within the human spirit that are prevalent in all societies and all cultures. Everything ranging from love to fear to sadness to anticipation to all those things that need to be portrayed. The key is to be able to say all those things in a contemporary way. We've chosen storyline to do that. Dance theater. In doing so, people can relate the moments on stage to their own personal lives. The Ukrainian culture is blessed with a very diverse, rich tapestry of folklore. What we need to do and will continue to do is to evoke those emotions from the past, the pride from the past, in such a way that people today, as artists, as dancers, can relate to what they're portraying, can become better interpreters of their own identity, and share that with the audiences.
Do what you need to do to get your own head together right now. Make sure you're warm, make sure the props are in position, and break a leg, okay? Okay, let's do it.
A lot of our fathers, our grandfathers, grandmothers came from this soil, especially right around Ivano-Frankivsk and Lviv. And I think that's why it has, personally for me, a lot of feeling, a lot of meaning. I feel like I've got something to prove here and something to show them.
Let's do it. 2 minutes. Places, please. We're going very close today.
You know when the moment becomes alive. It just happens. All of a sudden, you find yourself back 200 years in some meadow. It just works. The chemistry works. These are friends of a village. It feels like Jido. Everything feels right. There are those moments. Now, if you can make a whole show of that, you have a brilliant piece of work. The idea is to capture that moment and maintain it for 2 hours. That's the challenge. Enchanted Love. It's a bittersweet story about an old man remembering his youth when he fell in love with one he could not have. It's this interaction between the mortals and the complex spirit world of Ukrainian myth that allows us the freedom to expand the boundaries of Ukrainian dance.
Malka's a really fun character to play. She's a very fun-loving spirit who lives in the forest amongst the animals and other spirits, like the Rusalka, water nymphs. Legend tells us they're children lost in forests or drowned in rivers. I think part of the reason why she's so attracted to Lukash's music and Lukash, who is mortal, is his flute reminds her of her once mortal life. And it's very much like the birds that she lives amongst now. It's kind of a magical attraction when she hears Lukash's flute playing.
I'm playing a witch, trying to steal a youth and out of one person and trying to put into my old broken body, and I'm trying to do all bad evil things any which way I can take it, take advantage of a young couple who's in love. And it just happened that the girl is out of spiritual world and the guy is out of a normal. And I'm saying, well, if you guys listen to me, I can use my little magic to help you. But actually, I'm trying to help myself.
Lukash is just an everyday guy who happens to come across that one chance in a lifetime to meet that special girl. Even though she's from a different kind of world that doesn't allow them to touch, and he takes a chance. He goes for what is usually forbidden, not forbidden, but perhaps taboo. Things are going well. He's got the assistance, perhaps, of some sources that aren't necessarily of the natural world, but I guess if somebody wants to take that kind of chance, they'll go to any length to fulfill their imagination and desires.
I was blown away when the artistic director from the Kiev Ballet told me that they wanted to base a new ballet on enchanted love. Artistically, I knew then we were in the right direction. Every person has their own reason for being here. For me, personally, it's twofold. To see a dancer first achieve a personal sense of identity that he or she never knew they had, that is unique only to them, and then be able to achieve the skills in which to express that identity through movement is very exciting. Secondly, I truly do feel an obligation to pay tribute to the legacy of the past, to the folklore. It gives me purpose. It gives me a sense of fulfillment.
Тому що це вперше за всю історію. Перший канадський колектив приїхав, український колектив самодіяльний, приїхав до Києва і працює в такому палаці. Це надзвичайна подія між українським народом і канадськими українцями. Моє враження як професіоналізму, це дуже велика була проведена робота з хлопцями та дівчатами. Вони танцюють як професіонали.
І мені просто було цікаво сьогодні подивитися і знайти багато знахідок таких творчих, цікавих, просто знахідок таких і танцюристських, і ті, які можуть казати про добрий, великий балет.
I can't express the type of feeling I'm having right now, meeting the family that my Guido had left behind some 60 odd years ago. It's phenomenal. My heart is just burning with love and just a phenomenal amount of feeling. I just can't express it. It's something from deep within that it's hard to explain. It's so good to see family finally.
Незалежно від нації, якою мовою володіє.
Зібрано передачу жовтого палацу культури міста Києва.
Останній ще раз прийшла хвилина, час іти до бою, мушу сповняти наказ. Прийшла хвилина, час іти до бою, мушу сповняти наказ. Як ми йшли ми темними лісами, то ясна зоря нам сіяв. Гармати били, а не наступали, один за другим.
My greatest memory of this place would definitely, above all, have to be its people. Their kindness and their caring and their generosity, but above all, their passion for the way that they live, their passion for freedom, for what they aspire to become. They live life with a different kind of zest here, and it's an amazing thing to be able to get a glimpse of it, to be a part of it, and it's a wonderful, wonderful experience to be able to have some time to be in touch with what's going on here.
To be here in the heart of Ukraine, where my grandparents and so many others came from during that first wave of immigrants back around 1891, is the most incredible feeling that you could ever have as an artist, as a culturalist, as a person of Ukrainian ancestry.
It's really a land of contrast. We pass churches in really bad shape, still being used for storage and locked shut with chains, on the way to the reopening of a church in Lviv.
Before you leave, he'd like to offer his blessings to us all on behalf of the people here in this church.
Благословення Господнє на вас. Благодать Бог нехай благословить Бог Отець, Бог Син і Бог Дух Святий, нині і завжди, і на віки віків. Амінь.
It's amazing the conversation that they're having here. The lady from Paolo Virsky Dance Company is suggesting that we should have a couple of our dancers come join and study with the Virsky studio in order to bring some of the creative element and creative juice back to their company that's disappeared. They'd like some spark, they'd like some creative freshness. Strange coming from Virsky studio that we respect so highly.
We have in Ukrainian music the deep embodiment of our people, what our spirit is all about, what has kept us alive as a culture no matter where we have been in the world. All of that emotion comes forward in the music. Our story, in fact our entire history, which isn't as a people so well known but is becoming better known as a result of new movements and so on, has started to come across, but in music it has always been there. It has been there perhaps privately, perhaps secretively, however, and melodies have been kept alive, words, the language has been taught through music. All of that kind of preservational stuff has been always at the heart of our Ukrainian musical culture. And that too is what sums up a lot of what SHUMKA is all about. The preservation of a great culture, of great art form through Ukrainian folk dance. That's really what we're all about.
Every place that you perform, you have to be sensitive that those audiences are different, all your conditions are different, the psyche of the people are different, especially here in Ukraine. Here you're talking about the kind of work that we do in dance theater, story theater, requires all those elements of a production, technical, lighting, music, staging, everything from costume, wardrobe, who's available to do this, how does that affect the dancers, stage sizes, the ambiance of a theater can affect what you have to do. Coming here, we've had to adapt this show considerably. I think the SHUMKA half works for us simply because it has every part of that human element that everyone can relate to. Everybody inside wants to be a kid or can remember their childhood or loves the freedom of that feeling of being a kid. And here we have a young apprentice kid that wants to become a man, isn't ready to become a man, and the head, Chumak, even though he plays a very tough role, responsible role, deep down is a kid just like him, and the two of them develop a bond, and it really works.
We were very concerned with how they would receive our style of show. Because they have been used to dance companies in the Soviet Union, presenting repertoire dance, short suites, our show was so much different in structure with our stories. It was incredible. During the show, I could hear throughout the audience people recognizing characters. They would whisper out their name or folktale. It was as if they knew exactly what was happening in the story at all times.
It's incredible that with a dance group the size of SHUMKA, we end up playing 2 or 3 characters in one story. Sometimes we wear more than one costume at a time, and the costume changes need to be as choreographed as much as the dance itself.
Why bring the Ukrainian spirit back to Ukraine? This is why. We finished our show in Lviv, and people could not believe that we have held on to the traditions in the manner that we have. Our culture is alive and well. Our culture is the same as it is here. A spirit that hasn't diminished over 100 years, of immigration in Canada. It's alive and well. And it's so alive that it's unified. And this endeavor of ours, this spirit that we have felt here this evening, dancing in the land of our forefathers, is going to fuel our fire for years to come.
You know, we were invited to visit the home of a couple of dancers from Paul Wirsky's dance company. And the amazing thing about it was, you know, here we are, just basically total strangers, and they invited us into their home like we were like long-lost relatives. I mean, they put out their best for us, the things that they had, and I'm sure that it was the expenditure of a month's salary just to feed us that night. It's a strange experience. We had an opportunity to sit with them, to drink, to sing, to laugh. They opened up their hearts. They told us things that they never would have told us otherwise 5 years ago. All in all, you know, they found out that, hey, you're really not so bad. You're real people. And we found the same thing about them. You know, they want the same things out of life that we do. And they enjoy the same things about life that we do. The only difference is they know they can't have it, but somehow they manage to cope.
Was I happy to see this trailer today or what? Supposed to be here at 8 a.m. It is now 11:30 a.m. Talked to the driver, and he's just sweat's pouring off him, everything else. So I said, you know, what took you so long? You're supposed to be here at 8 a.m. In fact, you're supposed to be here last night. So he tells me he's about, on the road, he's got trouble getting gasoline. So he used up all his dollars. He borrowed some vouchers from people, used that up. And would you believe it? He had to trade for gasoline. And the only thing that he had to trade was a hunk of kubasa. So he traded a hunk of kubasa for the gasoline. Our trailer's here. And we're going into the theater to load it in and get to work.
That we're very tight and emotional in this type of, you know, privitania. It's important to us, and we need to say that to them. Okay, and they'll be a little bit more critical than the person that is, oh, look, they're doing wheat and it's ours, and, you know, this sort of thing. So just be aware of it. Let's tighten it up a little bit. All right, so girls walking forward, please. First thing we should do is where they have to be in each height. Okay, you know, we got different heights going down here for girls. You know, Sandra doesn't go nearly as low as Lita. It's all the permission.
Back home, when John Pickler keeps on telling us about wheat section, how we have to feel the Ukrainian in us and our culture and be proud of who we are, it didn't really come to light until our first show in Kiev. And when we went and started wheat section, it was just the most incredible feeling, because you understood exactly what he was talking about in terms of your Ukrainian culture and dancing for the joy of the Ukrainians, and it was just wonderful.
Хвилин до концерту, прошу. Please set your props, get your heads on top of it. I know you had a little bit of a break, but let's go and knock them dead. Thank you very much.
This is the part in the show. We've just spent an hour and 3/4, close to 2 hours, what I like to term as celebrating tradition. Something has to get left, your Pika show, so that in the last 10 minutes comes your hopak, your finale, a level that culminates your achievements of that celebration of all those traditions. It happens now. The dancers enter and attack, and at this moment the audience has to be as fresh as the dancers, as if the show just started, and only in that way can you do justice to the entire performance and also do justice to the culture itself. Hopak!
вдячна тим, що в Канаді дуже подобаються українські танці, не забуваються і дуже добре відносяться до України.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, man. Right here.
We're gonna go back home and continue to do what we do best. I believe that SHUMKA holds a place, a firm place, in the dance consciousness of Canada. And it's our job to place that in a position where all of the country and all of the world knows. Ukrainian dance is dynamic. It is full of diversity and beauty. Ecstasy at its peak. We need to achieve that, provide the dancers with the skills to catch up to their hearts. And that's the job that lies ahead for SHUMKA.
The tour was not only an occasion for pride in the group's Ukrainian heritage, it defined for them their Canadian identity. For SHUMKA, the Canadian flag flying through the air at the end of their hopak was a symbol of joyous identification with the country to which their ancestors had immigrated in search of peace, dignity, and freedom, including, among other liberties, the freedom to dance.